Hello there! My name is Tanner, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Hey look! Cardigan's back! Well, a different one from the one that I wore 2 weeks ago, but I have three of them, so you'll probably see that one again sometime soon. Now that that's out of the way, this video is the first of two stories that I have planned for spooky season. And like with my other stories, links in the cards and in the description down below, I will try to keep these stories as close to the originals as possible, but I'll be adding in my own creative license as needed. Oh, and one other thing. What's a spooky story without appropriately spooky lighting? Ah, that's much better. So, without further ado, here is the first story of spooky season: The Soldier and the Warlock. One day, a Russian soldier was on his way home on leave. He walked and walked and walked, trudging through the snow, the cold winter wind biting his cheek and nipping at his nose. After a time, he came close to the borders of his home village, where he grew up, and not far from that village there sat an old mill, which was run by a miller who was the soldier's friend from childhood. He knocked on the door of the mill, and when the miller opened the door, at first he wasn't sure who the soldier was. Soon, however, he recognized his old friend, and they embraced each other. The miller invited the soldier in, and they sat down by the fire and drank and caught up with each other's lives. Soon the soldier realized that it had grown dark, but when he got up to leave, the miller stayed him with his hand. "Please, comrade, stay the night here under my roof. Lately things have not been safe after dark, and I don't want you to run into any mischief." "What kind of mischief are you talking about, brother?" the soldier asked, with a mixture of puzzlement and concern. "An evil warlock has died in the village, and every night he rises from the grave, wanders throughout the village, and does many terrible things. So terrible it would bring fear to even the most adventurous man." The soldier laughed and clapped his friend on the back. "Brother, this warlock cannot touch me, for a soldier belongs to the crown, and therefore cannot be burnt in fire nor drowned in water. I wish to see the people in my village as soon as possible, and so for now I bid you farewell." The soldier walked on down the road to the village. Now this particular road passed by the local graveyard, and as he passed he saw that one of the graves was open and a fire was lit, and sitting next to the fire, sewing a pair of boots, was the warlock. The soldier, pretending that nothing was amiss, spoke up. "Privyet, brother." The warlock whirled around in shock and asked the soldier, "Who are you, and why do you approach?" "I am merely a soldier visiting his home on leave, and I approach because I wanted to know what you are doing." The warlock stood up, tossed the boots aside, and clasped the soldier's hand in greeting. "Come, there is a wedding in the village tonight. Let us go and enjoy ourselves, hmm?" The soldier and the warlock made their way to the village, and soon came upon the wedding. They were invited in and treated with the highest hospitality, and ate, drank, and were merry. The warlock drank and drank and danced until suddenly, for some mysterious reason best left unknown, he grew angry. He cast a cursed slumber upon the bride and groom, and chased the guests and family members from the wedding venue. He then walked up to the sleeping couple, took out 2 vials and an awl, and pierced the hands of the bride and groom, drawing some of their blood into the vials. He then turned to the soldier and said, "Now then, let's be off." They walked down the road back to the graveyard, and the soldier, pretending nothing was wrong, said, "Why did you steal their blood, brother?" The warlock turned to him, and a sinister chuckle crept from his lips. "So tomorrow they will die. When the light of morning comes, no one will be able to break the cursed sleep I put on them, and I am the only one who knows how to awaken them." "And how would one manage to break it?" the soldier asked, in a tone he hoped sounded merely curious. "Oh, ho, ho, quite simple," the warlock replied. "Both bride and groom must have cuts made in their heels, and some of their own blood dripped back in. However, I have the blood of the bride in my left pocket, and the blood of the groom in my right, so that will not happen." At this, he allowed himself a wicked cackle. "Ha ha 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 ha! Now I can do whatever I want!" The soldier listened, intrigued, and then spoke up. "If you can do whatever you want, comrade, then I suppose that it is rather difficult to defeat you." "Actually, quite the contrary," the warlock responded. "If one were to make a pyre out of 100 aspen boughs, and were to burn me on that pyre, then I would surely be defeated. But if someone were to try, he'd have to have his wits about him, for as I burn, worms, snakes, and reptiles will be released from my insides, and crows, jackdaws, and magpies will be released from my skull. All this must be thrown back onto the flame, for even if a single maggot were to escape being thrown back onto that pyre, then through that maggot would I be able to get away." Eventually, they found their way back to the graveyard. Then the warlock turned to the soldier and said, "Well, comrade, you seem a decent fellow, but I am afraid it is high time I tear you to pieces, for I cannot have you telling my secrets now, can I?" The warlock lunged, and the soldier dodged, muscles trained from years of campaign and war. He drew his saber, and with a cry of "For God and the Emperor!" he retaliated. They were matched, blow for blow, imperial saber against unholy talon. Whenever the soldier's saber found purchase, the warlock would merely laugh and magically heal the injuries. Soon the soldier was reaching the last of his strength. However, before the warlock could land the final blow, the first rays of dawn came up upon the horizon, and the crow of a rooster split the air. Just as soon as the battle happened, the warlock's body fell to the ground, dead as a doornail. Quickly the soldier leapt up and stole the vials of blood from the corpse. He then ran back to the village and revived the bride and groom. After they were taken care of, he went to the village elder and told him and the people to gather 100 aspen boughs. They did so, and laid the corpse of the warlock upon it. As night fell, they lit the pyre and took up shovels, fire pokers, brooms, and other such weapons. As soon as the fire was lit, just as the warlock said, his corpse burst, and worms, snakes, and reptiles poured from the body, and crows, jackdaws, and magpies flew from the split skull. The villagers were ready, however, and used the shovels, brooms, pokers, and other such weapons to make sure that not even a single maggot got away. When the fire burned out and the warlock was fully consumed, the soldier took up the ashes and scattered them to the wind. From then on, there was peace in the village, and the soldier was handsomely rewarded by the villagers for defeating the wicked warlock. For a while, he went back into the emperor's service, with more money in his pocket than what he had before. A few years after that, he retired, and went back to the village to live happily ever after. And there we have it. That was the story of the soldier and the warlock. Rather spooky, huh? If you like this video and you want more, please give this video a like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any new videos. Also, if there are any other ideas you want to see in future videos, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and it might just happen. Alright, well, that's all the time I have for this video, so I'll see you on Halloween with the second spooky story. See you then!